I'm Michael Bain, and welcome to Triggered. As always, coming to you from the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains and Dragon House Studios. Yes, that's it right behind me. And today, we're talking about a very interesting handgun. Today, we're going to be out at GUNSITE, taking a look at a very special pistol. While we were out at GUNSITE filming episode for Shooting Gallery on 5.7x28 and 22 TCM, essentially little bitty bullets going fast, we had the opportunity, thanks to Rob Pincus, who of course you've seen on the Best Defense Survival Roundtables, to test out the FK BRNO Field Pistol and the newest version, which is the FK PSD. It stands for Personal Security Detachment. It's a polymer frame version of the field pistol. We were able to put 100 rounds through it, and you're going like, well, what's 100 rounds? Well, 100 rounds at $75 for 50 is $150. It's easy to run up a price on specialty ammunition. But I wanted to kind of talk you through this gun, give you kind of a little background, and talk about how this all came together. If you look at the FK BRNO 7.5 Field Pistol, I believe late 2016, 2017 it came out. It was a home run at SHOT Show because it was something different. Imagine a CZ75 that's been exercising a lot in the gym with Mike Seeklander and was all bulked up. You can clearly see that, of course, FK BRNO is a Czech arms company, that they looked to the CZ75, one of the greatest pistols ever made, as their model, and then they upped it into a gun that was originally designed for a security detail in the Middle East. The company got a request from this security detail, said, we need a special gun. We need a gun that fills in the gap between the 9mm and the 5.56 carbine. We want a cartridge out of a handgun that we can shoot between 50 and 100 yards accurately. So that was the original spec. We need you to build this gun. And before the gun got built, or completely built, the company came back to the United States, the contract ended. However, the engineers at FK said, this is a really interesting cartridge, the 7.5FK, or if you will, 7.5 by 27mm. It's a cartridge they designed specifically for this gun, and they designed it from the ground up for accuracy. So we have a proprietary cartridge and a proprietary gun with a proprietary magazine. So what's it do? Well, let me talk a little bit about the field pistol before we shoot at that. The field pistol is a beautiful gun. I think it's a beautiful gun. As I said before, it appears to be a staged up CZ75. And I say staged up because this proprietary cartridge, the 7.5 by 27mm, is launching a 95 grain bullet, 95 grain bullet in our case, at 2,000 feet per second. That's hot. More importantly, the pressures on this are very high. Essentially, the 7.5 is running at what amounts to rifle pressures, 55,000 PSI, pounds PSI. To give you a comparison on that, 5.56 is maybe 60,000 PSI. The only other pistol that runs at a higher pressure than the 7.5FK is the 454 Casull, which interestingly enough we talked about really recently. So you've got a high pressure cartridge, which means you have to design the gun to handle those kind of pressures. That's a big deal. And so this gun was designed from the ground up to handle that kind of pressure. A second point, when you've got 95 grains at 2,000 feet per second, the issue you have to deal with is recoil mitigation. For example, take a 10mm, a hot 10mm, which is kind of right on up there, 180 grain 10mm, shooting out of a 1911, there is a lot of recoil there. It's snappy, the recoil curve is high and short. So you've got to figure out a system to mitigate that, and that is what the engineers at FK BRNO did. Is if you look at the gun, you look at the field pistol, you go like, wow, that's kind of weird, because it's got this kind of deep bottom. It's almost like, remember the Hudson? 9mm that were going to take over the world for 2 years, and then boom, gone. But when you saw it, and there's this whole bottom part underneath, a lot more than in the sleek CZ75 and its descendants, that's because the engineers decided to put the recoil system down low and wrap a counterweight around it. And it works. It mitigates the recoil of that gun. When we come back, we're going to talk about shooting the FK, and we're also going to talk about the polymer frame PSD, one you can afford. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Rock Island Armory, Taurus USA, Ammo Man, still offering $10 off any order of $150 or more with the promo code TRIGGERED, and Franklin Armory. Welcome back to Triggered, where we're talking about the 7.5FK Field Pistol and its immediate descendant, the polymer frame PSD. Shooting the Field Pistol, it's interesting, when I read the reviews on the Field Pistol, they were all over the place. They said, there's no recoil, it's amazingly light. Or, wow, that thing really recoils. It recoils. You cannot launch 95 grains at 2,000 feet per second, even with a weight of 46 ounces and a 6-inch barrel. You're going to get snappy recoil. We all know that recoil is not a sufficient word to talk about these things. What we're talking about is a wave. The recoil on a 7.5 reminds me more than anything else of the recoil off a light bullet 10mm. The recoil wave is moderately high, and it's delivered over a short period of time. Now, when we shot that, I shot it, Ed Head shot it, Lou Gosnell, both range masters, instructors at GUNSITE, we all arrived at the idea that this had snappy recoil. On the other hand, this is a 100-yard pistol cartridge designed for the ground up. One of the specs for this cartridge was that it be able to shoot into a 4-inch square at 100 yards. It's a heck of a pistol shot. So we shot it initially close up, and we were using the butterfly sight designed by FK BRNO specifically for this pistol. And the Europeans, I think it's the wine, I'm not sure, but the Europeans sometimes design interesting sights for pistols. In this particular case, the butterfly sight, it's a ghost ring, and on top of it sits a V. And the idea is you can use the ghost ring for precision out to 100 yards, and then you might want to use the V Express sight for different distances. The front sight is, once again, this is a European thing, and again, I attribute it totally to the wine. The front sight is small. It's got a painted red dot in it. None of us like the front sight because we're all used to very specific type front sights. But we found that, yes, it's a very accurate pistol with the butterfly sight. But when you got up closer, you ended up using the V on top of the sight as an express sight. We were all trying to figure out where the sight picture was. We only backed up to 50 yards, and we were shooting essentially chest plates, so call it a third size silhouette. And it was like, shrug, yeah, sure. It is an accurate pistol. It's designed to be accurate. You can ring the plate at 50 yards. I have no doubt that if we'd had time and ammunition to set up a bench, we could have nailed 100-yard targets very easily. It seems to be a perfect pistol for that. And you go like, wow, well, what's the drawback? MSRP $7,500. The company noted that maybe they didn't achieve American market penetration because it's $7,500. It's a lot of money to pay for a pistol that is, in effect, a dedicated hunting gun, because that's what it is. So they went back to the drawing board, and they created a less expensive polymer frame version of the field pistol, which they call the PSD, Personal Security Detachment. It's 38 ounces instead of 46 ounces. It's a 5.3 inch barrel. Otherwise, you've got the same thing. You got that recoil system really low with the counterweight on it to offset some of the recoil and offset the muzzle rise. And it did. It actually, with the 5.3 pistol, you're fairly, a lighter pistol, you're fairly sensitive of more recoil, but you can get a sense how that recoil system is mitigating what you are feeling. Now, in terms of accuracy, once again, shooting at paper, 10, 15 yards, backing up to 50 yards, shooting at plate, we did not see any difference between either of those guns. Both of them were absolutely accurate. The sights, I would throw them away. Both the guns can handle a Trijicon RMR. Put the Trijicon RMR on it. It's going to make a huge difference for you. Sight it in at 50. That's what I do. And considering that you've got a cartridge that one of the specs was it remains supersonic out to like 100, 150 yards, it's not going to drop at 100. It is going to shoot flat. 5.7 by 28, 22 TCM. When we're talking about little bullets launched at a high velocity, they are going to shoot flat. So, like I said, sighted in at 50 yards. It's a heck of a hunting pistol. Now, the PSD, the polymer frame version, which honestly I like better. I like better because and I'm a custom gun guy. I think most of you know that. So when you say $7,500 for a gun, I'm not going to flinch. I've seen that. I mean, I've shot the Clays course at Holland & Holland with a shotgun that cost basically 3 times what my first house cost. Okay? The cost of guns can be high and specialized, and European hunters are used to paying a high price for a hunting gun. Go out and price a Blaser that you're going to hunt hogs with in say, Germany. So the price is not that far off, but I just found that the PSD felt better in my hand. Now, we had the aluminum grips on it. I found the square back of the Field Pistol to be a less ergonomic choice than I would have made. When you're talking about the back strap of the pistol, and for me as a right-handed shooter, the left-hand side has a corner, and you're talking about snappy recoil. May not be the heaviest recoil in the world, but it's snappy. It's going to pound you here. And Ed Head and Lou Gosnell and I all agreed that after running through a bunch of rounds with it, we felt that we really wish we had a little bit rounder edge, which you do on the PSD. PSD, I believe, has one more round, 16-round magazines. The Field Pistol is at 15 rounds. They also offer a 10-round magazine, which you must do in both the United States and Europe. But the other interesting thing, I believe you can do this with the Field Pistol, but they really made a point of it with the PSD. The PSD is a 3 caliber pistol. So you can shoot the 7.5FK. You can also, just changing out the barrel, shoot a 9mm, or changing out the barrel, shoot a 10mm. The gun comes with a second caliber of your choice. I assume you can go back and buy the 3rd caliber barrel. Mr. Pincus, my friend Mr. Pincus, says that you can change barrels and run the guns with all 3 calibers without changing springs. Field Pistol comes with a heavier spring. If you feel like it's a little too snappy or the slide's running a little bit quick, put the heavier spring in. When I looked at all the reviews, some people thought the heavier spring was necessary. Some thought it wasn't. You pays your money, you takes your chances. All in all, I thought the PSD was a good gun. I thought the Field Pistol was a good gun. At roughly $2,000 to $2,500 on the PSD, I think it's worth that. When you talk about $7,500, no, I mean, I want something really special for $7,500, but the PSD, the FK BRNO PSD Field Pistol, is a good choice, especially because you can train with 9mm. You can even train with 10mm. When you say 10mm is less expensive, a less expensive training ammo, that gives you a sense of how much you're going to pay for 7.5FK. In fact, on one of the gun auction sites, I found 1 round of 7.5FK going for $3.98. Cool. That's right on up there with the heavy African cartridges. So We had a good time shooting this gun. I enjoy shooting, and I read a lot of reviews. I read about this gun. I shot it at Media Day, but until I have it in my hands shooting at plates and be able to discuss it back and forth with Ed and Lou, it's really hard for me to make a decision on what I think about the gun. But the field pistol, if I was driving a Lamborghini, that's what I would have in the glove compartment. The PSD, I think it's got some legs. I think it's something worth looking at. So, I am Michael Bain. This is Triggered. You can find us on michaelbain.tv. You can find us on YouTube. You can go to my celebrity page on everest.com and find some shooting galleries. And pretty soon you're going to be able to find some episodes of Triggered. We will see you next week.